So like I mentioned before, Dark Knight Returns is one of my absolute favorite stories of all time, and I really like this McFarlane Dark Knight Returns Batman, but as per usual, I don't particularly like the head, I don't like the scowl, so I picked up this DC Multiverse Batman figure when Mattel still had the license, and this is actually a pretty decent figure. It's a bit dated, but it's the first time I've really played around with the Motu Classics body, which this is built on, and it's pretty alright, actually. I mean, the legs look a lot better than Mattel's usual setup for hips, and, you know, it's just like a pretty nice looking figure overall. This joint here is super loose, like, it can't even hold a pose. Single jointed elbows that can... I mean, the bend isn't that great. But overall, from just like a quick glance, I would say this is a very nice looking figure. As long as you don't like try to pose him, I guess. He doesn't even have ankle pivots, so this is awful. But anyway, this head sculpt, look at that. That is probably my favorite Dark Knight Returns head sculpt of all of them. Like, I've seen the Mesco. I think the bit between the nose and the mouth is a little bit too long. And yeah, I don't know, this just really screams the animated adaptation, which I'm a huge fan of. And yeah, this just clicks a lot more to me than this one. This one is strangely enough also bigger, even though this is, as you can see, a bigger figure. So what I was gonna do is, I was gonna head swap and... well, I need to obviously repaint the cowl to black, but I was gonna try a head swap here, and hopefully that's gonna turn out alright. So, I don't know, can you just pull off the... Yep, you can just pull it off. As for this one, I'm gonna have to heat that up. And with a bit of heat from my trusty hairdryer, and boom. So, unfortunately, as you can see, we are not lucky enough to have these be the same size, so I can just like eye this and see how it... Oh, actually it goes down pretty well. Proportion-wise, I think this looks pretty good. Like I said, I'm gonna have to do some modding to get this head to sit right, and I'm gonna have to obviously paint it up, but let's see, where do we start? I think we can start with here. So I'm gonna be a bit lazy, and I'm just gonna fill this up with some plastic. You stuff it in here, and then you put that on like so, and oops, might need a little bit more. Push that on, make sure no plastic is like hanging loose, which it is here. This I do like. He looks very nice. I love this head sculpt so much. So yeah, let's get to painting. So now the cowl is nice and black, but the skin is a little bit lacking, so we're gonna use my trusty Cadian flesh tone to create a base color for it, and then we're gonna add in the rest of the details, some get some nice contrast in there. But first, like I said, we're gonna base it in Cadian flesh tone. And you know, if I get some paint on the black parts, that doesn't really matter too much, because black is a very easy color to clean up with. As you can see, the skin is a little bit too dark, but that's because this Cadian flesh tone here is pretty much only going to be in the recesses when I'm done with it. So, yeah, just wait. So by nature of Batman's costume, he only shows the bottom half of his face, so I don't need to skin match anything. So let's go with a slight dry brush of Cadian flesh tone mixed with some white. So this next bit is purely experimental. I'm just going to take some Reichland flesh shade because I'm not really a complete fan of how these colors I painted the face with are like blending together. So I'm just gonna see if some Reichland flesh shade is gonna bind them together a bit better. And now we're gonna let that dry. So with the wash dry, he looks a lot better, but we're also going to highlight a few things with this game color pale flesh. So as per usual, just get a little paint on the brush, not too much, and we'll start highlighting. So I'm just sort of gently brushing over the entire thing. It's almost like a dry brush, I guess. I don't really have a lot of paint on the brush in general. I'm just gradually making the skin tone a bit lighter. This also blends the colors in a bit more naturally, I feel. So as an extra little thing, I'm going to mod the ab crunch a little bit like I did with my Marvel Select Spider-Man like ages ago, if you remember that. So I just popped the double ball peg joint off and I'm going to make a little notch here so the rod has some more clearance. And you don't really need to be too careful because obviously you will never see in here anyway. So there we go, we've hollowed out quite a lot and we're just going to put the joint back in. And as you can see here, like compared to all this lovely motion we have here, this clearance really helps. So I think we could maybe try a little bit up here on the torso as well. So just do the same thing. So now with the ab joint fixed, so he can actually like crunch forward a little bit, I'm gonna do one more thing, and it's, you know these ratchet joints that McFarlane insists on for the feet? So yeah, I hate them because it feels a bit limited in that usually the position you want is like right between ratchets. So I'm gonna have these hobby base joints installed. Unfortunately, these two joints are completely incompatible. As you can see, this one is really thick, whereas the new hobby base joint is really slim. So I'm gonna have to fill up the holes here with glue, and then I'm gonna drill a hole straight in so this becomes a tight fit, and then I'll do the same for the feet. So here he is, completely finished. I was debating on if I wanted to shorten the legs a bit, but with the bigger head, he looks a bit more proportionate. I also don't want him, I mean, like, even like that much shorter would make him like here with Carrie, and that just looks weird. So, I mean, I think Carrie's too big to begin with, but you know, I'm sort of fine with this. The thing I'm the most happy with, obviously, is the head. I think the head looks absolutely fantastic. Just had to paint it up a little bit to get all the details out. And then, of course, these new joints for the feet, like I showed earlier. Still keeps the swivel. Yeah, Dark Knight Returns Batman. Really, really happy to have him. I know I'm going down the rabbit hole of having multiple Batmen now, but my reasoning is, you know, multiverse. I can have my quintessential Batman here and the Dark Knight Returns Frank Miller Batman. Thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed the video.
I'm not finished yet. And you're not finished with me. You're never finished with me. He's young, he'll walk again. But you'll stay scared, won't you, punk? What's your name?
Carrie Kelly. Robin.
She's perfect. Smart, brave. With her help, I can end the mutant problem once and for all. Good soldier. Good soldier.